Hey everyone, and welcome to Learn to AI. Look, in the world of artificial intelligence, you hear all these buzzwords flying around, right? Generative AI, AI agents, Agentic AI, it can make your head spin. So today, we're going to cut through all that noise and get a really clear picture of how AI is evolving from just a creator into a true strategist.
So we've all seen what AI can generate. It can write an email, it can make a crazy-looking picture, it can even come up with a song. But the real game changer, the thing that's happening right now, is the shift from an AI that just creates to an AI that actually does things. And that's the journey we're on today.
All right, let's start at square one. We're going to begin with the concept we're all pretty familiar with, the foundation that everything else is built on, generative AI.
At its heart, generative AI is a creator. It's got what's called a large language model, or LLM. Just think of it as this massive brain, like a GPT-4, that's been trained on a gigantic slice of the internet. It learns all the patterns and then uses that to generate totally new, original stuff. But, there's a catch with that training.
If you go and ask a basic LLM for any kind of real-time info, it pretty much hits a brick wall. And you might be wondering, why? Well, it's because its knowledge is essentially frozen in time. It has a knowledge cutoff date based on when it was trained, so it can't just browse the web or look up live data. It's incredibly smart for sure, but it's kind of stuck in the past.
So the big question is, how do we get this brilliant but limited brain to actually interact with the world as it is right now? Well, this is where we level up and bring in the idea of an AI agent.
The way we do this is actually pretty elegant. You start with that same powerful LLM brain. Then you give it access to tools, things called APIs, which are like digital bridges to websites and services out in the world. And boom, what do you get? You've just created an AI agent. This analogy is just fantastic. A brain is powerful on its own, absolutely. But a brain with a hammer and a screwdriver? Now it can build a house. By giving the LLM access to things like travel websites, weather data, or even just a simple web search, you're not just letting it answer questions anymore. You're letting it go find information and actually take action.
So here's the absolute crucial difference we need to lock in. Generative AI gives you an answer based on what it already knows from its training. An AI agent, on the other hand, takes your request, grabs its tools, and actively goes out into the real world to complete a task for you. It's about knowing versus doing. Let's see this in action. Remember our flight question? Now, instead of getting that error message, you can just give it a command like, book me the cheapest flight tomorrow. The agent can now use its travel tool to search online, compare all the prices, decide on the best option, and then actually book it for you. It's autonomous, but it's usually laser-focused on one specific goal.
Okay, but what happens when the goal isn't simple? What if it involves a whole bunch of conditions, dependencies, and steps? A single agent might struggle with that. And this is where we need a true strategist.
I mean, just look at this request. This is not just book a flight. No way. This is a multi-step logic problem. The AI has to find a 7-day period in May where the weather will be sunny, then find a nonstop flight within that specific window, and make sure it's under the budget. This takes real planning and coordination. And this is where Agentic AI comes into play. You have to think of it not as a single tool, but as a system. Like a whole team of AI agents working together. They can plan, they can coordinate, and they can use a whole bunch of different tools to tackle these complex, long-term goals all on their own.
So, how does a system like this solve our travel problem? Well, first, one agent, let's call it the flight booking agent, gets to work. It uses a weather API to find that sunny 7-day window. Once it has the dates locked in, it switches to its travel APIs to find a flight that meets our budget and has no layovers. But it doesn't necessarily stop there.
This is where the system gets really smart. It knows an international trip might require a visa, so the flight agent can call on a specialist like an immigration agent. This second agent can go check your travel documents saved in cloud storage, use an immigration API to verify your visa status, and then report back before any tickets are actually booked. Now that is coordination.
Okay, so let's bring it all together. We've gone from a creator to an actor to a full-blown strategist. It's really best to think of this as a spectrum of capability. This table right here is pretty much your key takeaway. Generative AI is all about creating content, and its autonomy is pretty low. Then you have an AI agent, which uses tools to complete simple tasks with a medium level of autonomy. And at the top, you have Agentic AI, which uses lots of tools to achieve complex, multi-step goals with a high degree of autonomy. It's a clear, step-by-step progression of power.
And this is a really important point to remember. These aren't completely separate things. That powerful generative AI brain, the LLM, is the core engine inside every AI agent and every agentic system. The more advanced systems are just giving that same brain more tools and a bigger team to work with.
And really, that brings us to the most exciting part. We're moving from a world where we ask AI, what is, to one where we can just tell it to go do. So, as these systems get more and more powerful, think about it. What's the first complex, multi-step headache in your own life you'd want to hand over to an agentic system? The possibilities are really just starting to unfold. Thanks for watching.